Modern economies are struggling against a design flaw. Global institutional debt has reached a scale where it can no longer be serviced through traditional extraction. State spending has become a reactive machine, perpetually locked into funding the management of manufactured scarcity through complex welfare and subsidy systems. Traditional austerity measures cannot solve this debt. Cutting a budget might lower a deficit temporarily, but it does nothing to remove the underlying physical friction that makes those expenditures necessary in the first place. To escape the fiat debt cycle, the system must target the physical roots of scarcity through a total systemic overhaul. Surviving the next economic decade requires a strategic pivot. Governments must stop financing the management of scarcity and start capitalizing the production of abundance. This alternative framework is the resource-based economy, or RBE. It is designed to systematically replace extraction-based markets with a focus on optimized resource distribution. The path to this reality is defined by a physical objective: the deployment of 8 million self-sustaining technological nodes globally by the year 2030. This distributed network is engineered to use localized production to mathematically replace zero-sum extraction with a guaranteed abundance reality. As decentralized abundance becomes a technological certainty, the structural requirement for centralized, debt-heavy institutional management begins to dissolve. Building this macroeconomic firewall requires an architectural rebuild, a model that must first be proven viable at the level of a single physical node. The foundational unit of this rebuild is the ARQ-18 modular habitat. Each unit is designed for resource sovereignty, featuring high-capacity energy storage and atmospheric water generation to pull clean water from the environment. Integrated waste-to-energy systems convert non-organic waste directly into power. For nutrition, Sky Acre vertical farming produces a whole-food, plant-based diet tailored to precise standards. By combining these technologies into a closed-loop system, a community can sever its dependency on vulnerable, centralized state grids for its basic survival needs. When the state is no longer required to maintain life support utilities for a specific population, the financial burden for that community is effectively zeroed out. To fund the scaling of this network without state welfare, the system utilizes the piece-for-profit flywheel. The flywheel operates on a one-for-one model. Profits from selling 1 million high-nutrition meals perpetually fund the free distribution of another million. At an $18,000 activation point, this launch catalyst allows a single ARC-18 node to achieve an immediate, permanent break-even state. At this point, the project becomes self-financing. It no longer requires outside capital or state subsidies to maintain its operations. This demonstrates that the first step to reducing national debt is mathematically isolating and fully funding the ongoing survival costs of a single unit. Scaling millions of these break-even nodes into a system that can address sovereign debt requires a new financial architecture. The Barnesque IQN token, or BNQ, provides the mechanism to detach this engine from the speculative fiat debt cycle. Unlike volatile fiat, the BNQ is an asset-backed token anchored to tangible life support outputs like clean water and energy. Managed by the Barnesque QION Real Estate Investment Trust, a fiscal firewall, it formalizes inactive assets into productive ARC-18 hubs, creating a regenerative ROI secured against fiat collapse. This establishes a parallel, debt-free macroeconomic structure, a blue zone investment, that allows sovereign wealth funds to proactively exit the collapsing fiat system. The ancient theological concept of the Shemitah mandates a systemic economic reset, forgiving all debts to end the cycle of scarcity. The Genie Intent Engine and the Cupa BIOS are the algorithmic tools designed to automate this reset in the modern world. Genie filters every network decision through strict ethical constraints, ensuring resource optimization is always aligned with human stewardship rather than speculative profit. As this AI oversight scales across 8 million nodes, it creates a planetary Shemitah cycle, maintaining resource equilibrium across all borders. By algorithmically guaranteeing essential resources like water and energy, the network aims to neutralize the primary friction points that drive territorial conflict. When basic survival resources are secured across borders, the structural necessity for zero-sum defense budgets begins to diminish, offering governments a viable path to reduce the massive state expenditures that drive national debt. Managing this global transition requires an operational force trained in the high-stakes logistics of the ARQ-18 hubs. This 6-month architectural roadmap is designed to transition demobilized combat veterans, or lone soldiers, from their military service into roles as certified Earth Guardians. The curriculum systematically repurposes their intense discipline and physical resilience into generative, closed-loop civilian innovation. Deploying these Guardians allows states to shift traditional defense spending away from kinetic operations and into the management of decentralized, productive infrastructure. The objective is to aggressively scale this combined human and technological model to reach the 8 million unit target by 2030. This framework demonstrates that by 2030, the ethically aligned deployment of global abundance can serve as a scalable mechanism for governments to systematically reduce their reliance on institutional debt.